What's up, you guys? I'm so excited to be back with you guys today. We are covering, we're in week 7, which is prosper and be happy according to the Bible in 52 weeks. Again, you guys can get this book at Five Below. At least that's where I got it, and it's only $5 and it's worth every single penny. I've said this before and I truly mean it. We're on day 2, part 2. So if you're just catching me on part 2, make sure you catch part 1. I'll try to link it somewhere on this video. I don't know if you guys have seen my videos, and this is so off topic, but this is the situation with my bangs. And it's like, what did I do? When I was younger, I was so crazy about who would touch my hair and cut it because it was so long. And now that I'm older, I just cut it myself. And I'm just like, oh, I messed it up. It'll grow back. It's amazing how much changes from when you're younger and you're so paranoid about everything and everything's a big deal. And then when you get older and you realize none of that stuff really matters. Like, truly, it doesn't matter. But anyway, covering chapter 18 today and chapter 19 today. I am dressed up as Barney the dinosaur. I'm like, I don't know if you guys can tell. I know color reflects differently on these videos, but I have like purple and like purple. Does anyone remember Barney? This is so off topic. One of the series that I saw was the Barney series. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that series, but I was like what? I was just like mind blown because number one, I didn't know people hated Barney that much. Like, I am not a hater of Barney. I used to babysit my nephew, and he loved Barney and had a little Barney, and I always felt the message was very positive, like, I love you, you love me, we're a great big happy family, whatever, blah 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 blah. And just like everyone's thoughts about like why they hate it and this and that. Now, listen, you guys, I have, and this isn't like bragging or trying to toot my horn or anything, but just like I do have some education on child development. And I just found this series. I have my bachelor's in child development. And I found this series to be very appropriate for a child. Like, I can get why an adult doesn't like it, but it's not made for an adult. It's made for a child. Maybe I'll regret touching this. Maybe I won't, but I just am reminded of Barney because I'm like in this lavender color and then have like a lavender thermal. But nonetheless, we're in chapters 18 today, which talks about forbidden sexual practices. And we'll also cover chapter 19. Hopefully everybody has had a great week so far. And so let's start with chapter 18. I'm reading out of the NLT for this video, and it starts, chapter 18 verse 1 says, then the Lord said to Moses, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. I am the Lord your God, so do not act like the people in Egypt where you used to live, or like the people of Canaan where I am taking you. You must not imitate their way of life. You must obey all my regulations and be careful to obey my decrees. For I am the Lord your God. If you obey my decrees and my regulations, you will find a life through them. I am the Lord. Sorry. Every time I start reading, I start realizing that I need my glasses. And so, okay. And we are on verse 6. Okay, so verse 6, which says, you must never have sexual relations with a close relative, for I am the Lord. Do not violate your father by having sexual relations with your mother. She is your mother. You must not have sexual relations with her. Do not have sexual relations with any of your father's wives, for this would violate your father. Do not have sexual relations with your sister or half-sister, whether she is your father's daughter or your mother's daughter, whether she was born into your household or someone else's. Do not have sexual relations with your granddaughter, whether she is your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, for this would violate yourself. Do not have sexual relations with your stepsister, the daughter of any of your father's wives, for she is your sister. Do not have sexual relations with your father's sister, for she is your father's close relative. Do not have sexual relations with your mother's sister, for she is your mother's close relative. Do not violate your uncle, your father's brother, by having sexual relations with his wife, or she is your aunt. Do not have sexual relations with your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife, so you must not have sexual relations with her. Do not have sexual relations with your brother's wife, or this would violate your brother. Do not have sexual relations with both a woman and her daughter. Do not take her granddaughter, whether her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter, and have sexual relations with her. They are close relatives, and this would be a wicked act. While your wife is living, do not marry her sister and have sexual relations with her, for they would be rivals. Do not have sexual relations with a woman during her period or menstrual impurity. Do not defile yourself by having sexual intercourse with your neighbor's wife. Do not permit any of your children to be offered as a sacrifice to Molech, for you must not bring shame on the name of your God. I am the Lord. Do not practice homosexuality, having sex with another man as with a woman. It is detestable. It is a detestable sin. A man must not defile himself by having sex with an animal, and a woman must not offer herself to a male animal to have intercourse with it. This is a perverse act. You would think you wouldn't have to be told to not have sex with animals, right? Like, that's my thought. I'm just like, that's just so disgusting. That's just my opinion. It's disgusting. Anyways, verse 24, do not defile yourselves in any of these ways, for the people I am driving out before you have defiled themselves in all these ways. Okay, so did you guys catch that? So he's already warning them, like, don't act like, you know, the Egyptians, don't like the Canaanites, like, keep this, you know, where you're going, just because you're moving into this other land or whatever, doesn't mean that you start behaving like them, you know. And I think that goes for us too, you know, just because we start a new job or just because we move into a new city or a new whatever it is, right, doesn't mean that now we start acting like the people that are living there. We have to keep, you know, our commitments to God. We have to continue to live this good, godly life, right? And so so he's literally saying to them, do not defile yourselves in any of these ways, for the people I am driving out before you have defiled themselves in all these ways. So these people have done all these things, is what he's saying. They have defiled themselves in all these ways. And then it says, because the entire land has become defiled, I am punishing the people who live there. I will cause the land to vomit them out. You must obey all my decrees and regulations. You must not commit any of these detestable sins. This applies both to native-born Israelites and to the foreigners living among you. All these detestable activities are practiced by the people of the land where I am taking you, and this is how the land has become defiled. So do not defile the land and give it a reason to vomit you out, as it will vomit out the people who live there now. So he's literally, you know, warning them. This is how they act. This is what's going to happen to them because of how they act. Don't act like them, or this will also happen to you. Or the land will also vomit you out if you also act like them, right? And so now it says, whoever commits any of these detestable sins will be cut off from the community of Israel. So obey my instructions and do not defile yourselves by committing any of these detestable practices that were committed by the people who lived in the land before you. I am the Lord your God. Now we're on chapter 19, where it says holiness in personal conduct. Holiness and personal conduct, chapter 19. This is the last chapter for this video. And then I will see you guys in tomorrow's video for Leviticus chapter 20 to 23. If you're just finding me now, I highly suggest just catch the series from the very beginning. It's all in chronological order. You can watch one video and it can take you all the way through. Or if there's a particular book, you can catch that book. We've already covered Genesis, Exodus, and Matthew. Leviticus is our fourth book that we will have covered this year. And so I hope you join us and you stick around. And I hope I see you in the comments. And so, okay, so chapter 19, holiness in personal conduct. Chapter 19 says, the Lord also said to Moses, give the following instructions to the entire community of Israel. You must be holy because I, the Lord your God, am holy. Each of you must show great respect for your mother and father. You must always observe my Sabbath day of rest. I am the Lord your God. I love that God tells us to observe the Sabbath day of rest, because my friends know I'm always preaching rest. I am always preaching rest. I'm preaching balance. Verse 4 says, do not put your trust in idols or make metal images of gods for yourselves. I am the Lord your God. And then it says, when you sacrifice a peace offering to the Lord, offer it properly so you will be accepted by God. The sacrifice must be eaten on the same day you offer it, or on the next day. Whatever is left over until the third day must be completely burned up. If any of the sacrifice is eaten on the third day, it will be contaminated and I will not accept it. Anyone who eats it on the third day will be punished for defiling what is holy to the Lord and will be cut off from the community. When you harvest the crops of your land, do not harvest the grain along the edges of your field, and do not pick up what the harvesters drop. It is the same with your grape crop. Do not strip every last bunch of grapes from the vines, and do not pick up the grapes that fall to the ground. Leave them for the poor and the foreigners living among you. I am the Lord your God. Verse 11 says, do not steal, do not deceive or cheat one another. Do not bring shame on the name of your God by using it to swear falsely. I am the Lord. Do not defraud or rob your neighbor. Do not make your hired workers wait until the next day to receive their pay. Do not insult the deaf or cause the blind to stumble. You must fear your God. I am the Lord. Do not twist justice in legal matters by favoring the poor or being partial to the rich and powerful. Always judge people fairly. Do not spread slanderous gossip among your people. Do not stand idly by when your neighbor's life is threatened. I am the Lord. Do not nurse hatred in your heart for any of your relatives. Let's read that one again. Do not nurse hatred in your heart for any of your relatives. Now let's move on. I don't have hatred in my heart for any of my relatives. I could work on some other things, but I don't believe that's one of them. But, you know, here's the thing. It's like you always feel you're good in one area, and then God reveals like you're not so good in that area. You know, like that's happened to me before, where I'll be like, oh, I'm good with this. And then God's like, no, you're not. You got some cleaning out to do, girl. No. Okay. Let's get back to it. Sorry. It says, confront people directly so you will not be held guilty for their sin. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against a fellow Israelite, but love your neighbor as yourself. So here, let's stop right there. But love your neighbor as yourself. Now, if you don't love yourself, it's going to be hard for you to love your neighbor. And so I think one of the things that we do have to work on as Christians and just as people in general is to learn to love yourself, like to learn to love that you are a child of God. You are created in his image. There are gifts in you. Your life has a purpose. Okay. I was just talking about this with my husband. Actually, I was talking about this book here, which is Miracle Morning. I think I mentioned this book before. I've listened to this entire book, like the Audible version of this. It was so good. I had to buy the book, and I've been rereading the book. And I'm telling you guys, like, let me just see if I can show you. I write messages on it, and it's so good. And one of the things that it talks about is your life purpose. And I was talking to my husband yesterday, and I was telling him, like, if you were to ask people, like, let's say you asked 5 people around you, 5 random people around you, what's your life purpose? I can guarantee you most of them are going to be like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. And that's why a lot of people kind of live this like average life, never push to doing anything greater or bigger than themselves, because they don't know their life's purpose. And so I would say right now, pause and think about what your life purpose is. And if you don't know what your life purpose is, then really, pray about that, take that to God and think about, like, God, what specifically did you create me for? Obviously now there's, we are supposed to reach everyone, spread the gospel, right? So that every ear may hear the good news, be baptized in the name of Jesus, be saved, have eternal life past this life on earth. That's the greatest goal and mission, right? For all of us. But within that mission and within that goal, God has gifted us specific gifts to us individually that we are to use those gifts and to bring people closer to God. And I can share with you, I remember I was telling my husband, I really feel like my life purpose obviously is, number one, to reach people for God, to help them draw closer to God, to be baptized in the name of Jesus and all of that. But within that is to reach the people that are hurting and broken and with a diagnosis or a hardship or whatever it is. My dad passed away when I was 2.5 years old. Statistically for me, I would have been very promiscuous, maybe in jail, maybe try drugs and all of this and that. And I wasn't any of those things because God has really kept me. And so anyways, going back to the life purpose thing, like I really felt that, as I started to get older and everything that I started to go through, I really wanted to be a voice to people that you can still have hope. You can still have joy. You can still gain strength from God in difficulties, in diagnosis, in loss, in grief, in heartache and heartbreak. And I feel that that at this moment in my life, that's my life purpose, is to reach the people that are hurting and to let them know through my story, my example, my testimony, what God has brought me out of and through, that you can still receive the goodness of God. You can still be incredibly blessed in the storm. And that if you just focus on Jesus, you can get through it, and you will get through it. You will get through it, and you'll be stronger than you've ever imagined you can be. And you will be in a position to help other people. And so that's kind of like what I feel is my life purpose, is to really help other people see the goodness of God in the midst of their hardships, in the midst of the struggle and the pain, and that you can have that grief and still have that joy and still have all the goodness of God and still be able to smile and still be able to laugh. And even in the hospital, you can laugh and you can cry and you can jump for joy and all that good stuff. And you can still enjoy life, even when the doctors are saying that maybe you're dying. You can still enjoy life. Even when the doctors say that it's critical, you can still enjoy life. Even when the doctors are saying you're going to be on this for the rest of your life, you can still have hope that no, that's not what I see for myself or whatever, right? Anyway, so I would just say, maybe take this moment to think about what your life purpose is. Where is God calling you specifically? Which community is he calling you to reach out to partner with, to be a part of, to help bring people out of? And a lot of the times, you guys, we think that our past disqualifies us, but I really think that your past qualifies you in a way. And what I mean by that is, because I have had loss at 2.5 years old and my dad died, because my daughter was diagnosed, I am now in a position to go into these areas, to speak of my testimony, how God has helped me through these areas, and to go reach the people that are in these areas now and help bring them out of the despair or whatever, the hopelessness that they are feeling in these areas, because I have been there and been through it. I feel like, don't allow your past to disqualify you, but think about what in your past can you actually use, that you've come out of, that you have the experience under your belt now, that you can reach someone from that community that I can't reach because I haven't been through that, because I don't know how that feels. You know what I mean? And so a lot of what we've been through is a stepping stone for you to go and reach those people. And so anyways, so back to chapter 19, where it's saying, so where he says, it says, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. And so again, I just completely rambled off, but the whole point is, we have to love ourselves too, but love your neighbor as yourself. If you don't love yourself, it's going to be hard for you to love your neighbor. And so it says, I am the Lord. Verse 19 says, you must obey all my decrees. Do not mate 2 different kinds of animals. Do not plant your field with 2 different kinds of seed. Do not wear clothing woven from 2 different kinds of thread. And verse 20 says, if a man has sex with a slave girl whose freedom has never been purchased, but who is committed to become another man's wife, he must pay full compensation to her master. But since she is not a free woman, neither the man nor the woman will be put to death. The man, however, must bring a ram as a guilt offering and present it to the Lord at the entrance of the tabernacle. The priest will then purify him, but before the Lord with the ram of the guilt offering, and the man's sin will be forgiven. Verse 23 says, when you enter the land and plant fruit trees, leave the fruit unharvested for the first 3 years and consider it forbidden. Do not eat it in the 4th year. The entire crop must be consecrated to the Lord as... It says, as a celebration of praise. Finally, the 5th year, you may eat the fruit. If you follow this pattern, your harvest will increase. I am the Lord your God. 26 says, do not eat that has not been drained of its blood. Do not practice fortune telling or witchcraft. Do not trim off the hair on your temples or trim your beards. Do not cut your bodies for the dead, and do not mark your skin with tattoos. I am the Lord. Do not defile your daughter by making her a prostitute, or the land will be filled with prostitution and wickedness. Keep my Sabbath days of rest and show reverence toward my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Do not defile yourselves by turning to mediums or to those who consult to the spirits of the dead. I am the Lord your God. Stand up in the presence of the elderly and show respect for the aged. Fear your God. I am the Lord. Do not take advantage of foreigners who live among you in your land. Treat them like native-born Israelites and love them as you love yourself. Remember that you were once foreigners living in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Do not use dishonest standards when measuring length, weight, or volume. Your scales and weights must be accurate. Your containers for measuring dry materials or liquids must be accurate. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. You must be careful to keep all of my decrees and regulations by putting them into practice. I am the Lord. And that concludes chapter 20, you guys, which concludes this video, which is part 2, day 2, week 7. I'll see you guys tomorrow to continue Leviticus. All right. I love you guys. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Remember, you were created for a purpose, a greater purpose than just paying your bills and living day to day and just, your life just passing by. You have a great purpose that God has created you for. So seek God for that purpose and go after it. All right.